I stood at the altar watching empty chairs where my family should have been sitting. My bride Sarah squeezed my hand as I realized the truth. Mom had actually chosen my brother Tyler's last-minute Hawaii vacation over my wedding day. The text from Tyler still burned in my mind. "Vacation can't wait, bro. Mom says you'll understand. We'll celebrate when we get back," with that stupid laughing emoji. 28 years of being second choice, and this was my breaking point. Growing up in Phoenix, Arizona, I learned early that love in my family came with conditions. Mom always had a reason why Tyler needed more attention, more money, more chances. When I brought home straight A's, she'd remind me that Tyler was struggling and needed encouragement. When Tyler failed his driving test for the third time, Mom bought him a brand new Honda Civic. When I asked for help with my beat-up Ford Focus that barely started, she told me that hardship builds character. The pattern started after Dad died in a construction accident when I was 16 and Tyler was 13. Robert Hendricks had been the kind of father who treated his sons equally, splitting his attention between my science projects and Tyler's baseball games. But when that scaffolding collapsed on a Tuesday morning in March, everything changed. Mom transformed from Patricia Hendricks' loving wife and balanced mother into a woman consumed with protecting her youngest son from any possible harm or disappointment. Tyler became her precious baby, who could do no wrong, while I became the responsible one who was supposed to understand and sacrifice for the family's greater good. During my senior year, when I was named valedictorian of Desert Mountain High School, Mom missed my graduation speech because Tyler had a Little League championship game. She drove 43 miles to watch him strike out twice, while I delivered my speech to an audience that included Sarah's parents but not my own mother. College presented the cruelest blow of all. I worked 3 jobs to pay for Arizona State University, while Tyler received full financial support for his education at the University of Arizona. I delivered pizzas until midnight, cleaned office buildings at dawn, and tutored struggling students between classes. My weekends disappeared into double shifts at a computer repair shop, where I learned the programming skills that would later save my career. Meanwhile, Tyler pledged the most expensive fraternity on campus and failed half his classes. 2 years into college, I discovered the devastating truth about our family finances. While organizing Dad's old papers for a financial aid application, I found documentation that made my stomach drop. Dad had left equal college funds for both sons from his life insurance policy. $250,000 was supposed to be split between Tyler and me, ensuring we could both graduate debt-free. The account statements told a different story entirely. Mom had systematically drained my portion to fund Tyler's lifestyle and his catastrophic business ventures. When he was 21, Tyler convinced Mom to let him invest my college money in cryptocurrency trading. He promised to double the funds within 6 months and pay for both our educations. Instead, he lost every penny in a series of reckless trades and margin calls. The documented evidence showed transaction after transaction, all approved by Mom as the account administrator. When I confronted her with the bank statements, Mom's face crumpled into practiced tears. She explained that Tyler had been so depressed after Dad's death, and the investment opportunity seemed like a way for him to find purpose and success. She swore that Tyler felt terrible about the losses and was working hard to pay back every dollar. Of course, no payments ever materialized, and Tyler never acknowledged the debt when I tried to discuss it with him directly. Sarah witnessed this confrontation during our junior year of college, and it opened her eyes to the dysfunction that I had normalized. She couldn't understand how a mother could steal from one child to enable another's irresponsibility. Her own parents, Michael and Linda Thompson, had raised 4 children with strict fairness and equal opportunity. Watching them interact with their kids showed me what healthy family dynamics actually looked like. Meanwhile, Tyler's pattern of failure continued without consequences. He dropped out of the University of Arizona after 3 semesters then enrolled at Phoenix Community College, which he also abandoned. Mom paid for 5 different career training programs from real estate to personal training to web design. Tyler would attend for a few weeks, lose interest, and move on to the next expensive opportunity. Each failure was met with Mom's understanding and checkbook rather than accountability. His employment history read like a catalog of poor decisions and burned bridges. Tyler lasted 4 months at a luxury car dealership before getting fired for sleeping with a customer's wife. He worked 6 weeks at a marketing firm before his cocaine habit got him terminated. Mom hired him to help manage Dad's auto repair shop, but he showed up drunk so often that she had to let him go. Each firing was somehow not Tyler's fault in Mom's eyes. Bad managers, workplace discrimination, impossible expectations, anything except Tyler's own choices. My success seemed to make Mom uncomfortable rather than proud. When I graduated summa cum laude with a computer science degree and landed a software engineering position at a promising startup, her congratulations felt hollow. She spent more time worrying about how my good fortune might make Tyler feel inadequate than celebrating my achievements. When I got promoted to senior developer with a substantial raise, Mom suggested I should help pay for Tyler's latest business venture rather than putting the money toward my wedding fund. The manipulation tactics became more sophisticated as I established independence. Mom perfected the art of emotional blackmail using guilt and fabricated health problems to control my behavior. She would call me sobbing about chest pains whenever I refused to enable Tyler's latest scheme. She claimed that my coldness toward my brother was destroying the family and causing her sleepless nights. According to Mom, everything would be fine if I could just be more understanding and supportive of Tyler's struggles. Tyler's drunk driving arrests became another source of family drama that somehow became my responsibility to help resolve. Mom spent thousands on lawyers and court fees for his 3 DUI convictions, money that could have replaced her aging roof or fixed her failing air conditioning. When I suggested that Tyler needed to face the consequences of his actions, Mom accused me of being heartless and lacking compassion for my troubled brother. She painted Tyler as a victim of depression and bad influences rather than acknowledging his pattern of destructive choices. The foundation of favoritism ran so deep that I had almost accepted it as normal until Sarah helped me see the truth. Her perspective as an outsider made clear what I had been conditioned to ignore. Mom had stolen my inheritance, sabotaged my opportunities, and demanded that I subsidize Tyler's failures while expecting nothing from him in return. This realization would prove crucial when the wedding planning began, and Mom's favoritism reached its most destructive peak. When Sarah and I announced our engagement 8 months before our planned wedding date, I expected some resistance from Mom, but I underestimated her capacity for manipulation and sabotage. Her immediate response to our happy news was concern about timing and Tyler's feelings rather than congratulations for our future together. Within minutes of showing her Sarah's engagement ring, Mom was suggesting we postpone the ceremony because Tyler might want to bring someone special soon and wouldn't want his relationship overshadowed by our wedding. The active sabotage began within weeks of our engagement announcement. Mom obtained our venue contact information and called Sunset Manor claiming to be Sarah Thompson. She told the event coordinator that we needed to cancel our booking due to a family emergency, requesting that all deposits be returned immediately. Fortunately, the venue manager had met Sarah in person and recognized that the voice didn't match. When they called to confirm the cancellation request, we discovered Mom's deception and had to provide additional security measures to protect our reservations. Her next target was our wedding photographer, James Martinez, a talented artist whose portfolio had impressed us enough to book him a year in advance. Mom called his studio claiming to represent the Hendricks family and explaining that we needed to postpone indefinitely due to financial hardship. She requested that he return our deposit and release our date to other clients. James, being a professional, called me directly to discuss the situation. When I assured him that we had no intention of postponing, he shared the details of Mom's call, including her request for the deposit money to be mailed to Tyler's address instead of ours. The wedding invitation list became another battlefield where Mom demonstrated her commitment to undermining our plans. She called extended family members with incorrect dates, telling them the ceremony had been moved from June 15th to August 20th. Uncle Frank Dad's younger brother, who lived in Tucson, called to congratulate us and mentioned the date change Mom had communicated. When I corrected him, his confusion turned to anger as he realized Mom was deliberately creating chaos around our wedding. He revealed that Mom had called him multiple times, asking him to convince us to postpone for Tyler's sake. Mom's manipulation of our extended family created hurt feelings and confusion that took weeks to resolve. Cousins Jennifer and Michael had already requested time off work for the wrong dates Mom provided. Aunt Susan had booked a non-refundable hotel reservation based on Mom's misinformation. Each family member I had to call to correct the details forced me to explain that my own mother was sabotaging my wedding, a humiliating conversation that damaged Mom's reputation among Dad's relatives. The timing of Tyler's Hawaii vacation was not coincidental. Mom had access to our save-the-date cards through Tyler's girlfriend Stephanie, a 24-year-old aspiring influencer who demanded expensive experiences to fuel her social media content. When Stephanie saw our wedding date on the refrigerator during a family dinner, she immediately began planning a competing event that would require Mom's presence. Within days, Mom had booked a 10-day Hawaiian vacation package that deliberately overlapped our wedding week. Tyler's new relationship with Stephanie brought out Mom's most excessive, enabling behavior. Stephanie had dropped out of cosmetology school to focus on building her Instagram following a career choice that required constant funding for designer clothes, professional photography, and exotic travel destinations. Mom saw Stephanie as Tyler's chance for happiness and was determined to provide whatever financial support their relationship required. The Hawaii trip cost $18,000, including first-class flights, oceanfront resort accommodations, and private excursions. To fund this extravagant vacation and Tyler's latest business venture, Mom made the devastating decision to refinance her house. The home Dad had paid off before his death became collateral for Mom's obsession with Tyler's happiness. She borrowed $85,000 against the property money that should have secured her retirement, but instead enabled Tyler's continued irresponsibility. When I learned about the refinancing through a credit report alert, I tried to discuss the financial implications with Mom, but she dismissed my concerns as jealousy over Tyler's success. The confrontation at Sunday family dinner 3 months before our wedding exposed the depths of Mom's manipulation and Tyler's entitlement. When I asked directly whether they planned to attend our ceremony, Tyler laughed and said their vacation couldn't be changed because Stephanie needed the content for a brand partnership opportunity. Mom supported this reasoning, claiming that I was being selfish by not adjusting my wedding date to accommodate their travel plans. According to Mom, a loving brother would want Tyler to have this opportunity for happiness and success. Uncle Frank attended that disastrous dinner and witnessed the family dynamics that had been hidden from outside observers. Dad's brother had suspected favoritism over the years, but had never seen Mom openly choose Tyler's whims over my major life events. When Mom suggested that Sarah and I could simply have a small courthouse ceremony and celebrate with a family party when Tyler returned, Uncle Frank stood up from the table and told her she was making a terrible mistake that would destroy her relationship with me forever. The emotional manipulation escalated as our wedding date approached. Mom began experiencing mysterious health problems that coincidentally flared up whenever I established boundaries or refused to enable Tyler's behavior. She claimed chest pains when I wouldn't postpone the wedding, complained of dizzy spells when I refused to pay for Tyler's business expenses, and developed severe headaches whenever I suggested that Tyler should get a job and support himself. These symptoms always disappeared when Tyler needed something, revealing them as calculated manipulation tactics. Sarah's parents observed this dysfunction with growing concern and anger. Michael Thompson, a retired federal judge, and Linda Thompson, a former high school principal, had never encountered a family system so twisted by favoritism and manipulation. They offered to increase their financial contribution to our wedding reception to compensate for Mom's lack of support, a generous gesture that highlighted the stark contrast between healthy family dynamics and the toxicity I had endured for years. The week before our wedding, Mom made her final attempt to control the situation. She called our venue, our caterer, and our DJ, claiming that Tyler had been in a serious accident and we needed to postpone everything immediately. Each vendor contacted us directly to express condolences and discuss rescheduling options. When I called Tyler to check on his condition, he answered from a Maui beach bar, laughing about Mom's creativity in trying to stop our wedding. This conversation confirmed that Mom had fabricated the emergency specifically to sabotage our ceremony. As I hung up from that call with Tyler, I realized that Mom's sabotage went beyond simple favoritism into active malice toward my happiness. She wasn't just enabling Tyler's irresponsibility. She was deliberately trying to prevent my success and joy. This understanding prepared me for the abandonment I would face on my wedding day and the long journey toward justice that would follow. The morning of June 15th dawned bright and cloudless, exactly the kind of perfect Arizona weather Sarah and I had hoped for our outdoor ceremony. I woke up in my best man's hotel room feeling nervous excitement mixed with a growing dread about my family's absence. The final text from Mom had arrived at 6:30 a.m., a message that would burn in my memory forever. Tyler had an emergency situation with his flight. I need to be with him. We'll celebrate when we get back. You understand, right? No emergency existed except Mom's inability to choose her son's wedding over her golden child's vacation. Tyler's social media posts from the previous evening showed him and Stephanie enjoying Mai Tais at sunset, hardly the image of someone facing a crisis requiring maternal support. The emergency was entirely fabricated to give Mom an excuse for abandoning the most important day of my life. Standing in my tuxedo 2 hours before the ceremony, I called Uncle Frank to confirm whether any family members would attend. His voice was heavy with disgust as he explained that Mom had pressured 17 relatives to boycott our wedding in solidarity with Tyler's absence. Aunts, uncles, and cousins who had watched me grow up were choosing Mom's manipulation over celebrating my marriage. Uncle Frank was driving from Tucson despite Mom's guilt trips because he refused to abandon me the way she had. The empty church seats told the story of a family divided by favoritism and control. Sunset Manor's beautiful chapel accommodated 200 guests, but the groom's side held only Uncle Frank, 3 college friends, and 2 co-workers from my startup company. Meanwhile, Sarah's side overflowed with Thompson family members, childhood friends, and former students who wanted to celebrate her happiness. The visual contrast was devastating and obvious to everyone present. Sarah handled the family abandonment with more grace than I deserved. During our private moment before walking down the aisle, she held my hands and promised that we were creating our own family, built on love and respect, rather than manipulation and favoritism. Her strength and optimism reminded me why I had fallen in love with her and why our marriage would succeed despite my family's dysfunction. Uncle Frank's emotional breakdown during the ceremony surprised everyone who knew him as a stoic former Marine. When Pastor Williams asked who gave the bride and groom their blessing, Uncle Frank stood up and declared that he represented the memory of my father, Robert, who would have been proud to see his eldest son marry such a wonderful woman. His voice cracked as he added that some family members had forgotten the values Robert tried to teach about love, loyalty, and treating your children equally. The reception proceeded beautifully despite the obvious absence of my family. Sarah's father gave a touching speech about welcoming me into the Thompson family and promised that I would always have a place at their table. Her younger sister Emma performed a song she had written about finding love and building new traditions. The celebration felt warm and meaningful, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about our happiness, rather than their own agendas. Our honeymoon in San Diego provided a peaceful escape from the family drama, but Tyler's social media presence made complete relaxation impossible. His Instagram account documented every expensive moment of their Hawaiian adventure helicopter tours over active volcanoes, private snorkeling expeditions, dinner at Michelin-starred restaurants, and couples massages at luxury spas. Each post felt like another slap in the face, showing exactly what Mom had chosen over her son's wedding day. The most infuriating post appeared on our third honeymoon day, a video of Tyler and Stephanie swimming with dolphins, while Mom watched from a resort balcony, smiling and laughing without any apparent guilt about missing my wedding. The caption read, "Living our best life with the most amazing mom ever. Family vacations create the best memories." The hypocrisy was staggering, given that she had destroyed our family unity to create those precious memories for Tyler. Returning from our honeymoon to an empty house felt anticlimactic after the emotional highs of marriage and the peaceful week away. No congratulations cards waited from my family, no gifts acknowledging our new life together, no messages asking about the ceremony they had chosen to miss. The silence felt deliberate and cruel, as if they were punishing me for proceeding with my wedding despite their disapproval. The legal documents waiting in our mail completely shattered any remaining illusions about Mom's priorities and intentions. An envelope from Patterson and Associates law firm contained paperwork showing that Mom had changed the ownership structure of Dad's auto repair shop, Hendricks Automotive. The business Dad had built over 20 years worth approximately $400,000 was now solely Tyler's inheritance. My name had been completely removed from all ownership documents and succession plans. Reading those legal papers felt like experiencing Dad's death all over again. Robert Hendricks had always promised that his business would provide security for both his sons, either through joint ownership or equal profit sharing. He had worked 16-hour days to build Hendricks Automotive into the most trusted repair shop in our neighborhood, talking constantly about passing his legacy to Tyler and me together. Mom had unilaterally decided to erase Dad's wishes and my inheritance in favor of Tyler's exclusive benefit. The lawyer's documentation revealed the timeline of Mom's deception. She had initiated the ownership transfer 3 months before our wedding, around the same time she started sabotaging our wedding plans. The legal changes weren't impulsive decisions made in the heat of family conflict. They were calculated moves designed to punish me for refusing to enable Tyler's irresponsibility and to reward Tyler for his continued dependence on her financial support. Uncle Frank's investigation into the inheritance theft uncovered even more disturbing details. Mom had used wedding gift money from relatives to fund Tyler's Hawaii vacation, essentially stealing checks and cash intended to help Sarah and me start our married life. Grandma Henderson's $1,000 wedding gift. Great Aunt Margaret's $500 check and cash gifts from various cousins had all been deposited into Mom's account and transferred to pay for Tyler's vacation expenses. The pregnancy announcement that should have brought our families together instead highlighted the complete breakdown of our relationship with Mom and Tyler. When Sarah discovered she was pregnant 6 weeks after our wedding, we called Mom to share the joyful news that she would become a grandmother. Her response was lukewarm enthusiasm, followed immediately by concern about Tyler's feelings, suggesting we wait to make any public announcements until Tyler was ready to share his own relationship news. Our neighborhood and church community rallied around us with support that contrasted sharply with my family's abandonment. Pastor Williams organized meal deliveries during Sarah's difficult first trimester. My coworkers threw an impromptu baby shower when Mom failed to plan any celebration for her first grandchild. The startup company's founder, David Chen, became a mentor figure who filled some of the emotional void left by my father's death and my family's rejection. The decision to go completely no contact with Mom and Tyler felt both necessary and heartbreaking. Sarah suggested that we needed to protect our growing family from the toxicity and manipulation that had defined my childhood. Uncle Frank supported our decision, sharing his own frustrations with Mom's treatment of me over the years. He promised to keep us informed about any family developments while respecting our need for distance and healing. As I reflected on the wedding day abandonment and its aftermath, I realized that Mom's choice revealed her true character more clearly than 28 years of subtle favoritism. She had chosen Tyler's vacation over my wedding, stolen my inheritance to fund his lifestyle, and shown no remorse for the pain she caused. This understanding prepared me emotionally for the success and vindication that would follow, setting the stage for the justice that was still to come. The year following our wedding became a period of remarkable personal and professional growth that validated every sacrifice I had made to escape my family's dysfunction. Without the constant drain of Tyler's emergencies and Mom's manipulation, I could focus entirely on building a successful marriage, advancing my career, and preparing for fatherhood. Sarah's unwavering support and the peaceful home environment we created together allowed my natural talents and work ethic to flourish in ways that had been impossible while managing family chaos. My position at Innovate Tech Solutions, a startup specializing in small business software, provided the perfect platform for my programming skills and entrepreneurial instincts. The company had struggled for 2 years to develop a comprehensive inventory management system that could serve restaurants, retail stores, and service businesses without requiring expensive customization. My background in computer repair and my understanding of small business operations from Dad's Auto Shop gave me unique insights into what these clients actually needed. Working 60-hour weeks while Sarah handled her increasingly difficult pregnancy, I designed and coded a revolutionary app that could integrate point-of-sale systems, supplier databases, and financial reporting into one seamless platform. The breakthrough came during a late-night programming session when I solved the synchronization problem that had stumped 3 previous development teams. My solution used machine learning algorithms to predict inventory needs based on seasonal patterns, weather data, and local economic factors. The app's beta testing exceeded every expectation, with small business owners reporting 20 to 30% reductions in inventory costs and dramatic improvements in cash flow management. Word spread quickly through business networks, and Innovate Tech's client base grew from 12 to over 300 companies within 6 months. My role evolved from senior developer to chief technology officer as the company expanded to meet demand for my inventory management system. Meanwhile, Tyler's latest business venture was imploding spectacularly, according to Uncle Frank's reports. The cryptocurrency losses had convinced Tyler that he understood financial markets, leading him to launch a vacation rental consulting business that promised to help property owners maximize their Airbnb profits. Using Mom's house as collateral, he borrowed $45,000 to purchase 3 rental properties in Sedona that he planned to manage and optimize for maximum revenue. Tyler's lack of basic business knowledge doomed the venture from the beginning. He failed to research local zoning laws and discovered that 2 of his properties were in areas that prohibited short-term rentals. The 3rd property required $15,000 in repairs to meet safety codes. Money Tyler didn't have because he had spent the renovation budget on luxury furnishings and professional photography. Within 8 months, he had defaulted on all 3 property loans and faced foreclosure proceedings. Stephanie's departure coincided with Tyler's financial collapse as she quickly realized that Instagram content couldn't be created without money for travel and experiences. Her final post featured her at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport with the caption, "Sometimes you have to leave toxic situations to find your true self. New chapter starting in Los Angeles." Tyler's desperate attempts to win her back included selling Mom's jewelry and emptying his checking account for a grand gesture trip to California that Stephanie refused to take with him. The birth of David Robert Hendricks on March 8th marked the most joyful day of my life and highlighted the tragic cost of my family's abandonment. Sarah endured 36 hours of labor with only the Thompson family and Uncle Frank present to support us. Mom never called to check on her daughter-in-law or ask about her first grandchild. Tyler was too consumed with his business failures to acknowledge David's existence. The hospital room filled with flowers and visitors, but none came from my immediate family. Naming our son after my father felt like reclaiming Dad's legacy from Mom's manipulation and Tyler's selfishness. David Robert represented the values Dad had tried to teach: hard work, integrity, equal treatment, and responsibility for your actions. Uncle Frank cried when we told him the name choice, sharing memories of his brother's excitement about becoming a grandfather and his dreams of teaching his grandsons about automotive repair and honest business practices. The tech industry recognition that followed our app's success brought validation that I had never experienced from my own family. When the Arizona Technology Council named me Young Innovator of the Year, the award ceremony was attended by Sarah's parents, Uncle Frank, and my coworkers, but no immediate family members. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was receiving statewide recognition for business innovation, while my brother's business ventures continued failing with Mom's unconditional financial support. The acquisition offer from Megacorp Industries arrived on David's 6-month birthday, creating a surreal juxtaposition between personal joy and professional triumph. Megacorp's senior vice president flew to Phoenix specifically to meet with me about purchasing InnovateTech's inventory management technology for their portfolio of small business solutions. The preliminary offer of $12 million for the entire company would net me approximately $2.4 million based on my equity stake and performance bonuses. Negotiating the acquisition deal required skills I had developed through years of managing my family's crisis situations and Tyler's manipulation attempts. The corporate lawyers tried various tactics to reduce the purchase price, but I remained calm and focused on protecting my interests and those of my coworkers. Sarah's father, with his judicial experience, reviewed all contracts and helped me understand the long-term implications of different deal structures. The final acquisition agreement signed on November 15th transformed our financial situation overnight and validated every decision I had made to prioritize education, hard work, and healthy relationships over enabling dysfunction. The $2.4 million payout allowed us to purchase our dream home in North Scottsdale, establish college funds for David and future children, and achieve financial security that would protect our family from the kind of manipulation I had experienced growing up. Our new house on Desert Mountain Drive featured 5 bedrooms, a 3-car garage, a swimming pool, and mountain views that reminded me daily of how far we had traveled from the chaos of my childhood. Sarah decorated David's nursery with an automotive theme that honored his grandfather's memory while celebrating our family's bright future. The home office where I continued consulting work overlooked the peaceful desert landscape that symbolized our escape from family toxicity. Meanwhile, Mom's retirement savings had been completely depleted by Tyler's failed ventures and her own poor financial decisions. Uncle Frank reported that she was working part-time at a grocery store to make ends meet, while Tyler lived in her basement unemployed since his vacation rental business collapsed. The house she had refinanced to fund his Hawaiian vacation now faced foreclosure proceedings unless she could find additional income or financial support. The community response to my success story created a network of supportive relationships that replaced the family connections I had lost. Local business owners who used our inventory management system became mentors and friends who celebrated our achievements without ulterior motives. The startup ecosystem in Phoenix welcomed me as a success story worth emulating, providing speaking opportunities and consulting requests that kept me connected to the innovation community Dad would have admired. As David took his first steps in our beautiful new home, I reflected on the journey from wedding day abandonment to entrepreneurial success. The pain of my family's rejection had motivated me to build something lasting and meaningful with people who shared my values. The foundation we had created would prove essential when Mom and Tyler returned with desperate demands and false reconciliation attempts, setting the stage for the ultimate confrontation that would determine our family's future forever. 18 months after our wedding day abandonment, Tyler's engagement to Amanda Richardson, a 29-year-old emergency room nurse, prompted Mom's first attempt at reconnecting with our family. The phone call came on a Tuesday evening while Sarah and I were giving David his bath, our peaceful routine, interrupted by Mom's sudden reappearance in our lives. Her voice carried the same manipulative warmth I remembered from childhood, as if 18 months of silence and abandonment could be erased with the right emotional tone. Mom's opening words revealed her complete inability to acknowledge the pain she had caused. "Marlon, honey, I have such wonderful news. Tyler proposed to Amanda last weekend, and they're planning a beautiful fall wedding. We're so excited to have you and Sarah involved in the celebration. Family is family after all, and we need to put the past behind us for everyone's happiness." The casual dismissal of our wedding day abandonment as the past demonstrated Mom's continued commitment to rewriting history rather than accepting responsibility for her choices. She spoke as if Tyler's Hawaii vacation had been a minor scheduling conflict rather than a deliberate rejection of my marriage, and a theft of wedding funds intended to help Sarah and me start our life together. Her expectation that we would eagerly participate in Tyler's wedding celebration showed a complete disconnect from reality. Amanda Richardson represented Tyler's first relationship with a genuinely accomplished and independent woman, which created new dynamics that Mom struggled to navigate. Unlike Stephanie's shallow materialism and financial dependence, Amanda had established her own career, owned her own home, and maintained clear boundaries about financial responsibility. Her presence in Tyler's life threatened the codependent relationship between Mom and Tyler that had defined their interaction for years. Tyler's transformation into a responsible partner for Amanda's sake revealed his capacity for change when properly motivated, which made his previous failures even more infuriating. He had found employment as a pharmaceutical sales representative, a position that suited his charm and social skills while providing steady income and benefits. He attended Alcoholics Anonymous meetings twice weekly and had maintained sobriety for 8 months since meeting Amanda. His sudden responsibility highlighted that his previous failures were choices rather than inevitable consequences of depression or addiction. The engagement announcement also revealed Tyler's desperate need for family validation and financial support despite his apparent progress. Mom confessed during our phone conversation that Tyler required a small loan of $50,000 to pay for the wedding venue catering and Amanda's engagement ring. His pharmaceutical sales income covered his basic expenses and apartment rent, but he lacked savings for major purchases due to his previous financial disasters and Mom's depleted resources. Mom's health had deteriorated significantly during the months following Tyler's business failures, according to Uncle Frank's concerned reports. The stress of potential foreclosure, part-time employment at 62 years old, and Tyler's constant financial demands had triggered legitimate medical problems, including high blood pressure, diabetes, and chronic fatigue. Her previous fake health crises made it difficult to distinguish between real symptoms and continued manipulation tactics. Uncle Frank provided crucial perspective on Mom's desperation during a private conversation at his Tucson home. He explained that Mom had borrowed against her life insurance policy, sold her car for a cheaper model, and taken a second job cleaning offices at night to avoid losing Dad's house. Her financial situation was dire enough that she had applied for food assistance and utility bill help from local charities, a humiliating experience for someone who had once lived comfortably on Dad's insurance money and business income. The foreclosure timeline created urgency behind Mom's reconciliation attempts, as she needed family support to navigate the legal and financial challenges threatening her housing security. The refinanced mortgage payments were 3 months behind, and the bank had initiated proceedings to reclaim the property unless she could arrange a payment plan or find co-signers for a loan modification. Tyler's unemployment made him ineligible to help, leaving me as her only potential source of financial assistance. My refusal to engage with Mom's manipulation attempts created frustration that escalated into more aggressive tactics designed to force interaction and guilt me into compliance. She began appearing at Innovate Tech's office building, waiting in the lobby to confront me when I arrived for work. Security eventually escorted her from the premises after she created a scene crying about her cruel son, who had abandoned his family in their time of need. Sarah's pregnancy with our second child, announced at David's first birthday party, should have been a joyful occasion that brought families together in celebration. Instead, it became another opportunity for Mom to demonstrate her complete inability to respect boundaries or acknowledge other people's happiness without making herself the center of attention. We had planned an intimate gathering with the Thompson family and a few close friends at the Paradise Valley Country Club, a peaceful afternoon that would allow David to enjoy his special day. Mom and Tyler's uninvited arrival at David's birthday party created the most humiliating public scene of our family's troubled history. They appeared during the gift opening ceremony, walking across the country club's manicured lawn as if they belonged at an event they had specifically not been invited to attend. Mom carried a large wrapped present and wore a dress that suggested she expected to be welcomed and photographed as the proud grandmother rather than ejected as an unwelcome intruder. Tyler's immediate demand for recognition as David's uncle revealed his continued sense of entitlement despite 18 months of absence from our lives. He approached Sarah and tried to take David from her arms, introducing himself to confused party guests as the baby's uncle who had been traveling for business during previous visits. His lies to our friends and Sarah's family members created an awkward atmosphere as people tried to understand why we seemed uncomfortable with our relative's presence. Mom's public emotional breakdown escalated when I asked them to leave voluntarily before involving country club security. She collapsed into a chair and began sobbing loudly about her cruel and heartless son, who had turned his brother against the family and refused to let her see her precious grandchild. Her performance drew attention from other club members and their guests, creating exactly the kind of public humiliation that had characterized our childhood whenever I tried to establish boundaries. The scene attracted the attention of other country club members who recognized us as new neighbors in the Paradise Valley community. Mom's accusations about my alleged cruelty and abandonment of my family created gossip and speculation that threatened our reputation in the upscale social circles we had worked hard to join. Several people approached Sarah's parents asking about the family drama they had witnessed, forcing uncomfortable explanations about my mother's manipulation and mental health issues. Country Club Security's eventual intervention required them to physically escort Mom and Tyler from the property as they continued protesting their treatment and demanding recognition as family members with rights to attend David's celebration. The incident was recorded by multiple guests on their phones, creating the risk that our family dysfunction could become social media entertainment that would follow us indefinitely in our new community. Sarah's father's offer to help us obtain a restraining order represented a turning point in our approach to managing Mom's escalating behavior. Judge Michael Thompson had observed enough of Mom's manipulation tactics to recognize that legal intervention might be necessary to protect our family's safety and privacy. His judicial experience provided valuable insights into the documentation and evidence we would need to establish a pattern of harassment and boundary violations. The aftermath of David's birthday party disaster forced us to confront the reality that Mom's desperation would continue escalating until we took decisive action to protect our family, or until we surrendered to her manipulation and enabled Tyler's continued dependence. The choice between legal protection and family reconciliation would determine whether our children grew up in the peaceful environment we had created or the chaos that had defined my own childhood. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation that would resolve our family conflict once and for all. Tyler's wedding date of October 21st created a 6-week countdown during which Mom's desperation reached dangerous new levels that threatened our family's safety and reputation in ways I had never experienced. Her traditional manipulation tactics of guilt trips and fake emergencies had failed to achieve reconciliation, forcing her to escalate into character assassination and outright lies that could permanently damage my relationships with extended family members and professional associates. The family pressure campaign began with seemingly innocent phone calls from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years, all asking suspiciously similar questions about my treatment of Mom and my reasons for excluding Tyler from my life. Cousin Jennifer from Flagstaff called first expressing concern about rumors she had heard regarding my alleged abuse of Mom and my refusal to help with her medical expenses. The conversation felt rehearsed, as if Jennifer was reading from a script Mom had provided about my supposed cruelty and selfishness. Aunt Susan's follow-up call 3 days later confirmed that Mom was conducting a systematic campaign to destroy my reputation within our extended family network. Susan accused me directly of abandoning my sick mother in her time of need and stealing money that rightfully belonged to Tyler. According to Susan, Mom had shown her bank records proving that I had somehow manipulated Dad's business accounts to cheat Tyler out of his inheritance, a complete fabrication that demonstrated Mom's willingness to commit fraud to support her lies. The most disturbing revelation came from Uncle Frank's investigation into Mom's claims and the evidence she was presenting to support her character assassination campaign. Using his connections as a former Marine and his relationships with family members who trusted his judgment, Uncle Frank discovered that Mom had created doctored bank statements, fake medical bills, and falsified legal documents to support her version of our family conflict. Mom's lies about physical abuse represented a new low in her manipulation tactics and a serious threat to my freedom and reputation. She claimed that I had physically attacked her during our confrontation about Tyler's college fund theft, showing relatives photographs of bruises that she attributed to my violence. Uncle Frank's investigation revealed that the photos were taken after Mom deliberately injured herself by falling downstairs at her house, injuries she then blamed on my supposed assault. The extended family WhatsApp group that excluded Sarah and me became a forum for spreading Mom's fabricated stories and rallying support for Tyler's wedding celebration. Screenshots Uncle Frank secretly provided showed dozens of messages expressing outrage about my treatment of Mom and excitement about supporting Tyler during his time of happiness. Relatives who had known me since childhood were accepting Mom's lies without question, demonstrating the power of her manipulation and the family's willingness to believe the worst about me. Mom's claims about the source of my professional success represented perhaps the most creative and damaging lies in her campaign against my reputation. She told family members that my software development skills and business success had come from stealing Tyler's ideas and using connections Dad had built in the automotive industry. According to her version of events, Tyler had developed the inventory management concepts during his failed business ventures, and I had somehow accessed his work and profited from his innovation. Tyler's bachelor party became a rally for family members who believed Mom's lies, funded by relatives who wanted to support him against his allegedly abusive and thieving brother. The weekend trip to Las Vegas cost over $8,000 money, contributed by aunts, uncles, and cousins who saw their support as justice for Tyler's supposed mistreatment. Photos from the celebration showed Tyler surrounded by family members who had chosen his side in a conflict they understood only through Mom's manipulated version of events. The wedding invitation that arrived in our mail represented the ultimate test of my boundaries and my commitment to protecting my family from continued manipulation. The elegant card invited Mr. and Mrs. Marlon Hendricks and family to celebrate Tyler and Amanda's marriage, accompanied by a handwritten note from Mom about forgiveness being the foundation of family love and her hope that we could put our differences aside for one special day. Amanda's personal phone call requesting my presence at her wedding revealed that she knew nothing about the true history of our family conflict or the reasons for our estrangement. Mom and Tyler had told her that our problems stemmed from a business disagreement that had gotten out of hand, not the systematic favoritism, theft, and abandonment that had actually destroyed our relationship. Amanda's genuine desire for family unity and her obvious love for Tyler created sympathy for her situation while highlighting Tyler's continued dishonesty. Mom's final manipulation attempt involved a fabricated terminal illness diagnosis designed to create urgency around family reconciliation and Tyler's wedding attendance. She claimed that doctors had discovered advanced pancreatic cancer that gave her only months to live, making Tyler's wedding potentially the last family celebration she would ever experience. Uncle Frank's investigation revealed that Mom had never seen an oncologist and that her medical records were documents she had created using online templates and fake doctor signatures. The recorded phone calls Uncle Frank provided as evidence of Mom's lies represented a turning point in my understanding of her mental state and the extent of her manipulation campaign. In conversations with various relatives, Mom's voice revealed careful calculation and planning rather than emotional breakdown or genuine distress. She discussed strategy for turning family members against me, specific lies to tell different people based on their personalities, and ways to ensure Tyler's wedding would force a confrontation that would either restore her control or permanently divide our extended family. Legal consultation with Sarah's father and a family attorney revealed that Mom's defamation campaign could constitute harassment fraud and potentially criminal libel, depending on the extent of her false claims about physical abuse. The documented evidence of her lies provided grounds for a restraining order and possibly a lawsuit to protect our reputation and prevent further character assassination. However, pursuing legal action would require public disclosure of our family dysfunction and could damage relationships with relatives who had been deceived by Mom's manipulation. The decision to attend Tyler's wedding surprised everyone who knew about our family conflict, including Sarah, who worried about exposing ourselves to further manipulation and public humiliation. My choice was strategic rather than reconciliatory, based on Uncle Frank's advice that confronting Mom's lies publicly might be the only way to stop her campaign and restore my reputation with extended family members who had been deceived by her fabricated stories. The careful planning required for this confrontation involved documenting all evidence of Mom's lies, coordinating with Uncle Frank and Sarah's father for support, and preparing for the emotional and social consequences of exposing the truth about our family's dysfunction. The stage was set for a public revelation that would either restore justice and accountability to our family relationships or permanently destroy any possibility of reconciliation with Mom and Tyler. As I prepared for Tyler's wedding day confrontation, I reflected on the journey from Mom's subtle childhood favoritism to her current campaign of character assassination and fraud. The little boy who had accepted unequal treatment as normal had become a man capable of standing up for truth and protecting his family from continued manipulation. The ultimate test of my strength and my commitment to justice was about to unfold in front of our entire extended family. The decision to attend Tyler's wedding required careful preparation and emotional fortification that reminded me of preparing for a military operation rather than a family celebration. Sarah and I spent the morning of October 21st getting dressed in our finest formal attire, knowing that we would be walking into hostile territory where most attendees believed Mom's lies about my character and treatment of our family. David wore his first suit, a navy blue outfit, that made him look like a miniature gentleman ready for his debut in extended family politics. Uncle Frank met us in the parking lot of St. Mary's Catholic Church 30 minutes before the ceremony, carrying a briefcase containing all the documented evidence of Mom's deception and Tyler's financial irresponsibility. His military bearing and serious expression made clear that this was a mission rather than a celebration, a final battle to restore truth and justice to our family relationships or permanently sever ties with people who had chosen manipulation over honesty. The shocked expressions on relatives' faces when we entered the church revealed the effectiveness of Mom's character assassination campaign and their surprise that I had dared to appear at an event where I was clearly unwelcome. Cousin Jennifer avoided eye contact completely, while Aunt Susan whispered urgently to her husband about calling security to remove the dangerous family member who had allegedly abused his mother. The cold reception confirmed that our confrontation would need to be dramatic and undeniable to overcome months of carefully planted lies. Tyler's confidence during the pre-ceremony greetings demonstrated his complete belief that Mom's manipulation had succeeded in destroying my credibility and isolating me from family support. He approached our pew with a smug smile and loud voice, making sure other guests could hear his magnanimous offer to put the past behind us for Amanda's sake. His performance as the forgiving brother showed sophisticated understanding of public perception and his role in Mom's narrative about our family conflict. Mom's attempt at a tearful reunion in front of the assembled guests represented her final manipulation performance, complete with dramatic sobbing and loud declarations about the power of forgiveness and family love. She rushed toward me with arms extended, clearly expecting that I would either reject her publicly and confirm her claims about my cruelty, or accept her embrace and signal my surrender to her version of our relationship. Her theatrical approach attracted attention from every guest in the church, setting the stage for the revelation that would follow. Amanda looked absolutely radiant in her grandmother's vintage wedding dress, a vision of genuine happiness and hope that made the upcoming revelation more difficult but also more necessary. Her love for Tyler was obvious and sincere, based on the person he had become for her, rather than the irresponsible man he had been throughout our childhood. She deserved to know the truth about Tyler's character and financial dependence before legally binding herself to someone who had never faced consequences for his actions. The wedding ceremony proceeded beautifully, despite the underlying family tension with Amanda and Tyler exchanging vows that spoke about commitment, responsibility, and building a life together based on honesty and mutual support. Tyler's promises to be faithful, hardworking, and devoted rang hollow to those who knew his history, but Amanda's radiant smile suggested she believed completely in his transformation and their future together. The reception at the Arizona Biltmore provided an elegant setting for the confrontation that would determine our family's future, with 200 guests enjoying cocktails and appetizers, while completely unaware of the drama about to unfold. Mom had spared no expense for Tyler's celebration, spending money she didn't have on premium bar service, gourmet catering, and elaborate floral arrangements that demonstrated her continued prioritization of Tyler's happiness over financial responsibility. When the best man finished his speech about Tyler's journey to finding love and stability, I stood up and requested permission to speak as Tyler's older brother, a role that commanded attention and respect, despite the family conflict most guests knew existed. My calm demeanor and formal appearance suggested reconciliation rather than confrontation, which encouraged the wedding coordinator to hand me the microphone and the guests to listen respectfully to what they expected would be a healing moment. The revelation began with my acknowledgement of Amanda's beauty and grace, followed by my hope that their marriage would be built on the honesty and accountability that had been missing from our family relationships. I expressed genuine affection for Amanda, while making clear that my presence was motivated by love for truth rather than acceptance of Tyler's behavior or Mom's manipulation over the years. The documented evidence presentation transformed the elegant reception into a courtroom where years of lies and favoritism were finally exposed to public scrutiny. Uncle Frank assisted by distributing copies of bank records, legal documents, and recorded phone transcripts, while I explained each piece of evidence and its significance to our family's financial and emotional destruction. The bank statements showing Mom's theft of my college fund created audible gasps, while the recordings of her lies about my supposed abuse generated shocked silence. Tyler's public humiliation as his financial dependence and irresponsibility were exposed in detail represented a moment of accountability he had never experienced in his 25 years of life. The documentation showed his multiple business failures, drunk driving arrests, job terminations, and complete reliance on Mom's financial support even into his adult relationship with Amanda. His attempts to interrupt or deny the evidence were undermined by Uncle Frank's additional documentation and witness testimony. Mom's complete breakdown as her manipulation tactics were revealed and her lies exposed represented the collapse of a system of control that had defined our family dynamics for 15 years. Her attempts to maintain her version of events crumbled as relatives examined the evidence and recognized the sophistication of her deception campaign. The fake medical records, doctored bank statements, and fabricated abuse allegations showed a level of manipulation that shocked even family members who had enabled her favoritism. Amanda's reaction to learning Tyler's true character and financial situation demonstrated the wisdom and strength that had attracted Tyler to genuine responsibility for the first time in his life. Rather than defending Tyler or attacking the messenger, she quietly examined the evidence and asked pointed questions about his plans for financial independence and accountability. Her calm professionalism as a medical professional helped her process the information objectively rather than emotionally. Extended family members' apologies and expressions of shame for believing Mom's lies without investigating the truth created a wave of validation that I had never experienced from my father's relatives. Aunt Susan approached me with tears in her eyes, confessing that she had always suspected favoritism, but had never imagined the extent of Mom's manipulation and theft. Cousin Jennifer offered to help expose Mom's lies to other relatives who hadn't attended the wedding. The final confrontation with Mom forced her to acknowledge years of favoritism, theft, and manipulation in front of witnesses who could no longer deny or minimize her actions. When presented with overwhelming evidence and the testimony of family members who had finally seen the truth, she admitted to taking my college fund, sabotaging my wedding, and lying about abuse allegations. Her confession represented a moment of accountability that transformed our family dynamics forever. Tyler's desperate rage as his enablement system collapsed and his wife questioned their future together revealed the entitled child he remained despite his temporary maturity for Amanda's sake. He accused me of jealousy, and spite claimed that his business failures were due to bad luck rather than poor decisions, and demanded that Mom defend him against my attack on his special day. His inability to accept responsibility even when confronted with overwhelming evidence confirmed that his transformation had been superficial rather than genuine. Amanda's private conversation with me during the reception's aftermath showed her processing the revelation that her new husband had hidden his true character and financial dependence throughout their courtship. She thanked me for my honesty, while acknowledging that she needed time to decide whether Tyler's recent changes were genuine enough to build a marriage upon. Her professional background had taught her to recognize manipulation and assess character accurately. Mom's social exile from the extended family began immediately as relatives who had been deceived by her lies expressed their anger and disappointment about being manipulated into supporting Tyler against me. Several family members announced that they would no longer provide financial support or emotional validation for mom's favoritism, effectively ending the enablement system that had allowed Tyler's irresponsibility to continue unchallenged for years. The wedding reception's conclusion with Mom and Tyler isolated from family support, while Amanda reconsidered her marriage, represented a complete reversal of the power dynamics that had defined our family relationships since Dad's death. Justice had been served through truth rather than revenge, accountability rather than punishment, and transparency rather than manipulation. 6 months later, the long-term consequences of the wedding day revelation had transformed our family relationships and individual lives in ways that validated my decision to confront the lies and demand accountability. Tyler was working a second job to support himself after Amanda decided to postpone their marriage until he could demonstrate genuine financial independence and responsibility. Mom had begun attending therapy sessions to address her manipulation behaviors and had started making symbolic payments toward replacing my stolen college fund. Amanda's decision to maintain her relationship with Tyler while insisting on professional counseling and financial transparency represented hope for Tyler's genuine transformation based on accountability rather than enablement. Their relationship continued with clear boundaries and expectations that required Tyler to maintain employment, attend therapy, and rebuild trust through consistent actions rather than promises. Mom's gradual acknowledgement of her favoritism and its damage to our family created the possibility of eventual reconciliation based on truth rather than manipulation. Her therapy sessions were helping her understand the psychological factors behind her preferential treatment of Tyler and the harm it had caused to both sons. While full reconciliation remained uncertain, her willingness to change represented progress that had seemed impossible before the wedding confrontation. Uncle Frank's role in documenting and exposing the truth had restored his relationship with Mom while maintaining his support for our family's healing process. His military values of honor and accountability had provided the framework for achieving justice without permanent family destruction, showing that truth could triumph over manipulation when someone had the courage to stand up for what was right. Our extended family relationships had been restored and strengthened through the shared experience of confronting manipulation and choosing truth over comfortable lies. Relatives who had been deceived by Mom's character assassination now understood my perspective and offered support for our growing family. The wedding day revelation had created stronger bonds based on honesty rather than obligation. Sarah's pregnancy progressed smoothly in the peaceful environment we had created through establishing boundaries and demanding accountability from family members who wanted relationships with us. Our second child would grow up in a family system based on fairness, responsibility, and mutual respect rather than the favoritism and manipulation that had defined my childhood. David's relationship with his extended family developed naturally now that Mom could no longer manipulate family gatherings or create chaos through lies and emotional blackmail. He was learning healthy family dynamics through interactions with the Thompson family and reformed relationships with Dad's relatives who had chosen truth over manipulation. The life lesson that emerged from our family's journey was the power of standing up for truth and demanding accountability from people who claim to love you. Love without respect, honesty, and fairness isn't genuine love, but rather a form of control that ultimately destroys the relationships it claims to protect. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for manipulative family members is to stop enabling their destructive behavior by refusing to accept lies, theft, and emotional blackmail as expressions of family loyalty. My success in business and marriage had been achieved not despite my family's dysfunction, but because I had learned to recognize manipulation and choose healthy relationships over familiar chaos. The skills developed through years of managing Mom's emotional blackmail and Tyler's irresponsibility had prepared me to build a company, negotiate with corporate executives, and create a marriage based on mutual respect and shared values. The ultimate victory wasn't revenge against Mom and Tyler, but rather the creation of a family environment where our children could grow up with equal treatment, honest communication, and accountability for their actions. Breaking the cycle of favoritism and manipulation ensured that David and his future siblings would never experience the pain of being second choice in their own family. As I reflected on the journey from wedding day abandonment to wedding day justice, I realized that the most important lesson was about the difference between family as an obligation and family as a choice. True family relationships require mutual respect, honesty, and accountability. When someone repeatedly violates those principles, loving them means establishing boundaries that protect everyone involved from continued harm. The peace and happiness Sarah and I had built together validated every difficult decision we had made to prioritize our marriage and children over dysfunctional family loyalty. Our home was filled with laughter, respect, and genuine love, rather than the walking on eggshells atmosphere that had characterized my childhood. We had created the kind of family Dad would have been proud of, built on the values he tried to teach, rather than the chaos that followed his death. What do you think about family dynamics and setting boundaries with manipulative relatives? Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and protecting yourself from toxic behavior? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming family challenges, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from hearing about standing up for yourself against manipulation. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that you deserve relationships built on respect, honesty, and genuine love, rather than guilt, obligation, and emotional blackmail. Take care of yourselves and the people who truly care about your happiness.